Saturday, everyone. Tuco has been really chill. The life of a cat, you know, he has it pretty good. He chases after bolts. He sits on things. He really likes climbing things. He does it all. So, today I was going to do some more work on that VFD little side project. And this is just a little thing. This is something I expect to complete within just a couple of streams. And it's just like a little thing for the workshop, kind of like the little rubber button pad that I made. And so it's just one of those things that I'll turn into a small video. I just don't necessarily want to make one of those little ones my next video, because the next one that I'm working on is, well, it's a little more complicated, but it's related to the Wacom tablet that I was voltage glitching a while ago. So that's the next one in the editing queue. But it's been nice to at least record some footage and do some streams related to these smaller projects, just to break up the relative monotony of the really involved projects like the glitching has been lately. So this time, let's go back to the other camera. Oh no. Can I recenter Tuco in this layout without... He's actually like all the way on the other side of the... He's like all the way on the other side of the shop. I just have a longer cable for the camera now. But I think I can fix this one in software. Oh no, that's going up. I don't want that to go up. This little wireless touchpad I have is really bad. Anyway, let's see how well that serves us. Let's put this back where I won't accidentally break anything. Come on. I think I've got some EMI problem here, because I have had no luck using any kind of wireless input devices. Well, other than this mouse, I guess. This mouse has been fine. But what else have I tried? This Bluetooth keyboard works really badly in wireless mode, so I have it plugged in. And this other wireless thing is pretty bad. I should actually see what the spectrum is like around here. I probably have something that can sweep 2.4 gigahertz around here. Anyway, let's also make sure this camera has a fresh card. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we're dealing with here. It's a little bit different angle than what we had last time. Let's see if I can find an interesting camera angle. So, whoa, what did I do? So, basically, this is the second stream in a little mini project, where the goal of this mini project is to just build a little display object that will help me keep track of more of the status of the broadcasting setup here while I'm doing exactly this. Since right now, it's easy for me to keep an eye on some of the things, like the actual stream is relatively easy to keep an eye on, but I have some other recording and transcoding operations that have to go on in parallel with this, or I lose footage, or things don't stream. And it's hard to keep tabs on that kind of stuff, because, it's mostly like a screen real estate issue, and I don't necessarily want to add an entire additional LCD, because that's, probably overkill for this and would clutter up things even more than they already are. So using something like this seemed like a good kind of fun approach to that problem, because I only need to display a little bit of information. Just a couple lines of text would be perfect. I just need to see, here are the recordings and transcodes that are going on. Here's like a little indication of how much progress they're making. So for processes, I'll probably have some little spinner that spins according to how much CPU it's using, and for recordings, I'll have it monitoring the network shares where it can access the local recording disks of all the different machines that are doing recordings. It'll have this will be running a little Python script on a Linux machine that already has all of those other network shares mounted, so it'll be easy for it to just look at how much data there is and see how much recording is being done. So that's the plan. You might notice it's not very bright. Part of that is because I actually have the brightness turned down right now, and part of that is because there's a lot of light right here, and so it looks dimmer than it actually is. And I think I should probably actually make sure I know what the brightness level is set to. Can I SSH into there from here? I totally can. That's great. So, this is just a little Python script running a, well, you can barely see that on camera, I know. Let me start out by just turning one of these lights off, which isn't where we really want this to be because, obviously I'm going to be using this with a lot of light around, but I think this might inform the design of mounting this. I want it angled such that it kind of stays in the shadows, but also points toward me so I can really read it easily. So I have kind of an idea in my head for a case. So my plan here for the stream is we'll take a quick look at this, kind of double check that the mounting idea I have works out by just kind of holding things up there and looking at the light levels. And I also wanted to, just since we have this scope that we can easily look at signals with, and I had a couple of questions I wanted to answer for myself about the driver circuit in this VFD. I thought it would be interesting to probe around a little bit and look at the waveforms, both on the filament and on the individual, the grids and the actual individual pixels on this VFD. So I thought that might be interesting. We can do that really quick. And then what I was hoping to mostly focus on was actually doing a quick CAD design for a mounting bracket for this. So it'll probably be at least 2 parts that I would 3D print and put around this VFD, so probably a thin bezel on front of some sort, which isn't necessarily required. I could probably make something that's only on the back and that this bolts into. So that's maybe a trade-off to make. But so anyway, some plastic thing that houses the VFD on the front gives it a bit of a, I don't know if I want to bother putting plastic in front of it because I kind of like the regular look of these, but maybe at least a little bit of a shade so that it keeps the lights from glaring on it too much might be nice. And then the other major feature it needs to have is I wanted it to attach to some of these poles, which I'll demonstrate in just a sec. But I think the way to accomplish that will be to have a U-shaped plastic piece with some embedded neodymium magnets. I could do a full clamp, but I think this thing's light enough I can get away with just having it magnet onto the pole, and then that might make it easy to get out of the way if it is in the way momentarily. Or I could put it on a different pole in case I want it closer. So that might be nice. It's also a little simpler just designing one piece with a bunch of magnets than designing 2 pieces and then having to... I guess that wouldn't be too hard if I just had captive nuts on one side and I had to use, I use long M6 bolts or something because I have metric hardware around here, as we've established. I did find my Imperial hex drivers. They were in the wrong drawer. So, but I mostly have metric hardware around here. And so I could just make something in 2 pieces, which that's how a lot of the stuff around here. So, forget a little bit meta here. Hello. So I have these monitors, which are actually attached via clamps onto these poles. So it's like a VESA mount with a 2-piece metal clamp. And then some of this other stuff is attached to the table because I wanted it to be more stable relative to the table. But that's the spot over there where I was thinking of putting, or at least one of the potential spots, where I could mount the VFD. It also could go, I could make some space between these monitors, or I could attach it to this same one that's actually holding the camera, which is why I can't show it very well. Anyway, let's experiment with the brightness levels. I'm going to SSH into this machine so we can actually change the brightness level. I don't want to have to run this too bright because there's a compromise between brightness and tube lifetime. And so I'd rather do what I can to design the environment of this so that it doesn't need to be very bright to be visible. Also, one thing I brought up on the last stream was I was concerned about whether or not I should worry about turning this tube on and off. Since it seemed like it might help lifespan if I wasn't going to be displaying anything for some time, to turn off the power to the heater filament. And I had a separate circuit in the old in the old project that I pulled this tube out of. I designed like a separate little transistor circuit to turn on and off the VFD. And that was easy because there was a microcontroller involved already. But right here, I'm just hoping to get away with directly connecting it to a USB serial dongle. So there are ways to implement a power control. Like, I think the simplest thing to do would be to have, like a little, like some tiny microcontroller, the smallest thing I can find around here, and just have it listen on the serial line and basically act as a watchdog timer. So if it sees any serial data, make sure the VFD is on, turn it on, start a countdown timer. If the timer expires and we notice that we haven't seen data for some hours, then turn off the power. So that would be the simplest approach. But I was trying to do some research to see how necessary that is, and it was hard to find anything super definitive. I found some forum posts that didn't really have any references, but seemed to make sense. And so what I was expecting was that the aging was going to largely be about how bright you run it. So the phosphors age the more they glow. So that's why you have to worry about screen burn-in. That's why the brightness can age the displays much faster. So I knew that was a factor, and so that's why, certainly if you want to get long life out of a VFD, you would want to turn the brightness down as much as you can tolerate. But I was curious about the filaments because I wasn't actually sure whether, at the temperature they run at, does that induce a lot of aging? Is it worse to thermally cycle them by turning them on and off if you're just not going to be using it for some hours? So yeah, I didn't find anything super definitive. Some people were saying, yeah, if you're going to be if you're going to be blanking it for hours, then turn off the filament. But I was also seeing that VFDs are in a lot of pretty old school appliances that just ran them pretty continuously at low brightnesses, like the classic, clock flashing 12 o'clock on your VCR. That's usually a VFD, and they run dim, but the filament is going to be on the entire time. So at this point, I'm not really inclined to go super far out of my way to power manage the filament on this thing, so I'll probably just assume that anytime my transcoding server that this is plugged into is turned on, that it's okay to have the VFD filament warm. But that was partly why I wanted to check this out on the scope, because I was noticing that the filament aging depends a lot on having a good power supply, because if you supply the filament with DC instead of AC, then you can actually end up causing a material to migrate off of the filament at a rate that's vastly accelerated over what would be unavoidable. And I also read just a little bit about how I guess there's a plating on the filament wire that can be damaged if you run the filament for too long at too low a temperature, which is interesting. Hey, Tuco. So I thought it might be interesting to take a look at that waveform and make sure it's working properly. I did actually briefly look at it with a multimeter, and it actually seems to be all right, but I think we can get a better look at it with the scope. Man, Tuco's in a good mood. Oh, I guess there's a cat break. I feel like it's so precious when he sits there quietly. It's not a common thing. He's very flitting in his moods. But wow, Tuco. Aw. This is uncharacteristically affectionate even. Nice little guy. Cat break. Can I reach the button to make the camera bigger? Tuco had a good nap on the other chair, and he's been enjoying some birds outside. It's pretty overcast here, but I've been hearing the birds chirping. Thanks, Tuco. All right, that was fun. So, anyway, brightness. Oh, geez, Tuco. I forgot about the... he was going to change the stream title again. I think I just barely stopped him. Oh, I also just noticed the chat that polarizing filters make them easier to read, and you can get them in fun colors. That's a good idea. I was thinking about getting some kind of filter material. Let's see what the brightness is like just on its own. I have a little bit of polarizing material, but I probably don't have a big enough piece. I will check my bin where that might be hiding to see if that exists. Let's bring Tuco Cam back over here. Yeah? Tuco, is this what you want? Play a goalie. Oops. Hey, Tuco. Cat break. Oops. That went on top of the desk. I don't know if this is the same bolt, but... Maybe I can be the Tuco robot. Just push this across. You finding it, little guy? Hey, Tuco. You're working hard on this one. I don't even know where he is now. Any luck, guy? He is persistent. That's a different bolt, I think. That's fine. Hey, buddy, I understand. Can't win them all. Oh, he caught that one right in his paws. Playing fetch with the fisheye lens is kind of fun. I'm actually pretty excited about the idea of having kind of a flying camera with a fisheye lens, because I think that could be a pretty awesome perspective. I mean, not like literally flying, but on wires, so that it flies around on command and stays stable. Hey Tuco, you sure are diligent. Did I throw you too hard of a bolt? That one's covered in all sorts of fluff. Should I give you another difficult one? No? I love the way he plays goalie. Whoa, nice catch. There's a part of me that feels like, oh man, I'm procrastinating, I should get back to work, but I've actually had a lot of requests for more Tuco on the stream, so maybe I should keep playing. I don't think Tuco would object. Oh, I just noticed a question on the chat about Tuco's name. I didn't name him, but he's actually he's named after the character from Breaking Bad. So complete polar opposite to the cat's actual personality. But I didn't, I adopted Tuco when he was about a year old. And, the name seemed interesting. I didn't feel like renaming him. And I've gotten used to it. I often shorten it to Tuc, which makes me imagine the warm hats. Whoa, he just batted that one right back. Good job, Tuc. Oh, this new Tuco cam it's definitely nice having a longer wire. We can play games in more places. Oh, good question in chat from Garkana. Does he like to be picked up? Sometimes. It really depends on his mood. So I'll often, if he seems like he might be in the mood to be picked up, I'll try it. And, sometimes I put him down right away, and sometimes it lasts for a little while. And it really depends on whether or not we can do something together. So, if I pick him up and then I can rub his head in a way that he likes, then he's cool with that. He can hang out with me for a while. If I pick him up and then we go stand next to the window and we watch birds together, we can do that for a long time, actually. I feel like I've had times when I get tired of holding him before he gets tired of that, which is pretty amazing. I like to think of it as Tuco and I chirping at birds together. We'll usually go up on, I don't know if the camera wire will reach all the way up there. I might have to use the wireless one if we do that. But it's actually close to that pile of towels upstairs he likes to sleep in. There's a spot where he can see the birds kind of flying overhead pretty much every evening as the sun starts to set. And they make all sorts of noise, and then he chirps at them. It's super cute. Tuco, is that one hard? I've got a spare supply of bolts over here, honey. So, see that? That one's fresh from McMaster Carr. Do you like mouse sashimi? This was originally sewed together, but he ripped it open, and so I decided to see if a cable tie would hold it back together, and it ended up looking like sushi. I don't know if he's into it anymore. But this is Tuco's catnip. He loves these things. Tuco, you got one of these? It's a fresh bolt. That other one seemed like it was kind of dirty. This one is probably nicer. Yeah? You want this? I'm gonna catch this. Oh, you're such a cat. Uh-oh. Got a wire problem here. Back wire. Is it this one? Oh man, one of these BNC jacks is really bad. I think it's this wire, but it's hard to tell. Hello? I can't keep up with chat entirely. Are you guys trying to talk about, are you guys talking about Scanlime, the website? What is wrong with this wire? Sorry about the black screen, folks. Huh. Hey Tuco, you want to bolt while I debug this cabling issue? What the heck is wrong with us? Clean this jack somehow. Huh. Oh, this might be anticlimactic end to this Tuco event here. Does it work if I swap these? Oh, this is definitely... Seems like a problem with the cable, but let me try restarting the capture. Right, this shouldn't affect the stream, but... Debugging. Oh, is the camera also frozen? What's going on there? Did the capture card crash or something? I think the capture card crashed. How did that happen? Well, I guess now it's working. Do I have to restart the camera too? What if I just unplug HDMI from the camera? No, that's not enough. Oh man, why do we even computers? I've got to like open up the source and like switch it to a different device and then back to the device it's supposed to be on. Okay. Man, that's annoying. I think the microscope needs the same treatment. Okay, let's see how far that gets us. Tuco, where did Tuco go? Is this live? That is not live. Oh, why is that not live? Sorry about the debugging here, folks. So that comes back. Oh, now that's live. Okay. And now that isn't live. That is weird. If I do that. Okay, I might have to shut this stream down for a few technical fixes, but I'll be back in a sec. Sorry about this, folks.